Hey, I'm about to show you Revelation chapter 22, verse 18 and 19, which are verses that say, if you add to them, God will add plagues to you, and if you take away from them, God will take away something from you. But the King James Version does not agree with these three versions of what will be taken away. So bear with me, there's a lot of words on the screen, but I'm going to show you just very briefly. Try to do it under 5 minutes. These are the two verses I'm looking at, but I'm going to look at this part of the verse. God shall take away his part out of the book of life. And right here, because you know it's book, it says book, book, uh, book, book, book. It says the word biblos 5 times here. And it says the book of life, which in Greek is biblos zoe. Let's look at what these other versions say. God will take away his share in the tree of life. So right here, instead of biblos zoe, it says xylon zoe. These three versions all agree together that it says xylon zoe instead of biblos. And what is that? It's wood or a tree. Okay. Uh, well, I can tell you that nobody has a share in the tree of life anymore because Adam and Eve sinned in the Garden of Eden, and they lost their share of tree life, and all have sinned in Adam. So I'm going to show you how to decide which one of these is the correct version. Is it Xylon Zoe or is it Biblos Zoe? Well, in 1 Samuel chapter 7 in the King James Version, it talks about David slaying Goliath, but when it talks about it later, the ESV contradicts itself. So this is the guy's name. Elhanan, the son of Jeroboam the Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath, the Gittite. And this version just says that Elhanan, the son of Jeroboam the Bethlehemite, struck down Goliath. So that's a contradiction because Elhanan did not do it, but the King James Bible says that he struck down his brother. And so the ESV has a contradiction, and these three all agree that it's Xylon Zoe. So these three all agree with a contradicting version. In this one says book 5 times, so you can get it clear. It's talking about books here. But let's look at these verses just in length. This is a different length than this is a different length than this is a different length. And the two verses say you can't add to them or take away. So if that were true for these, that nothing was added or taken away from them, then they would all be the exact same length. But now we're going to look at the original text and what it translates into English. The King James Version has 33 words, and that translates into 44 English words. But check this out. They add to the old copies, and that takes away from what comes out in English. When adding to the older text and changing it, they actually reduced how many English words came out. Let's just read the two verses in context. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, that also means take away their meaning by words being next to them and causing extra meaning. If any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things written in the book. So, the NIV, ESV, and NLT have a different Jesus Christ than the King James Bible, just because of a few words that are said. And also they have a different expectation of heaven because of this Xylon Zoe compared to Biblios Zoe thing. And they are reading a book who the author is cursed by God, and they cannot enter in heaven. Oh, get the King James Version.